Maybe you have felt this before. A quiet feeling that you don't completely belong in the world around you. Not because you believe you are better than other people, but because somehow you seem to notice things that others simply pass by without thinking. Maybe you're sitting in a room full of people, laughing, talking, sharing stories about work, relationships, frustrations, and future plans, and yet part of your mind feels slightly distant. You're there, you're listening, you are participating, but another part of your mind is quietly observing everything, observing patterns in the conversation, observing how people react to certain ideas, observing how often opinions repeat themselves. Slowly, a strange sensation begins to appear. Not exactly loneliness, but something close to it. A subtle sense that the world everyone else seems comfortable inside feels slightly different when seen through your own mind. If this feeling sounds familiar, there is something important to understand. You are not alone. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer described something remarkably similar nearly 2 centuries ago. He believed that certain individuals experience life differently simply because their awareness runs deeper. And deeper awareness often comes with an unexpected consequence. The clearer reality becomes, the harder it can sometimes feel to belong completely inside it. At the center of Schopenhauer's philosophy lies an idea that can sound strange at first. He believed that the fundamental force behind human behavior is something he called the will. This concept appears throughout his major philosophical work, The World as Will and Representation. The will is not rational. It is not conscious. It is a blind force that drives every living being to continue striving, to continue wanting, to continue pursuing. The will pushes us to seek pleasure, to seek admiration, to seek security, to seek success. At first glance, this might sound like a normal description of human motivation, but Schopenhauer noticed something deeply unsettling. The will is never satisfied. When we desire something and fail to obtain it, we experience frustration. But when we finally obtain what we wanted, something surprising happens. The satisfaction fades, the excitement becomes normal, and almost immediately the mind begins searching for the next objective, another achievement, another reward, another source of recognition. Life becomes a continuous cycle of striving. Most people move through this cycle without questioning it, but certain minds eventually notice the pattern, and once the pattern becomes visible, it becomes difficult to ignore. Modern society intensifies this cycle in ways Schopenhauer could never imagined. Our world is built around stimulation. Social media platforms compete for every moment of attention. Endless videos appear on our screens. Notifications interrupt our thoughts constantly. Every moment of silence can now be filled with distraction. But distraction has a hidden purpose. It prevents deep reflection. A distracted mind rarely asks difficult questions about existence, but a reflective mind always returns to them sooner or later. For many people, constant stimulation creates comfort, but for certain minds, it creates something else, restlessness, because their thoughts continue moving beneath the distraction, observing patterns, connecting ideas, questioning assumptions. Even during entertainment, the mind remains active, reflecting, analyzing, searching for meaning behind ordinary experiences. This is why moments of silence can feel both uncomfortable and fascinating to reflective individuals. Silence creates space for thought, and thought leads to questions. Schopenhauer believed that intelligence increases sensitivity to life's contradictions. Many social structures are built on shared belief. Money has value because society believes it has value. Status exists because people collectively agree that it matters. Prestige exists because others admire it. Once someone begins examining these structures carefully, they start to look less solid, more like agreements than absolute truths. This realization can create a strange psychological distance. Not distance from people, but distance from assumptions. Things that once seemed unquestionably important begin to look different. Career success, social admiration, public recognition. They still exist, but their emotional weight begins to change. This realization can create strange psychological distance. Not distance from people, but distance from assumptions. Things that once seemed unquestionably important begin to look different. Career success, social admiration, public recognition. They still exist, but their emotional weight begins to change. Imagine walking through a city late at night. Lights glow behind apartment windows. Cars move slowly through quiet streets. Inside each apartment, a different life is unfolding. Someone cooking dinner. Someone finishing work. Someone laughing with friends. Someone sitting alone. From a distance, the city appears vibrant, but from a reflective mind, another realization appears. Every life feels deeply meaningful to the person living it, yet many lives follow similar patterns. Wake up, work, seek stability, repeat. Imagine walking through a city late at night. Lights glow behind apartment windows. Cars move slowly through quiet streets. Inside each apartment, a different life is unfolding. Someone cooking dinner, someone finishing work, someone laughing with friends, someone sitting alone. From a distance, the city appears vibrant, but from a reflective mind, another realization appears. Every life feels deeply meaningful to the person living it, yet many lives follow similar patterns. Wake up, work, seek stability, repeat. Perhaps the real question is not whether intelligence causes unhappiness. Perhaps the real question is what happens when illusions begin to fade. Illusions serve an important role in human life. They create motivation, they give direction, they make effort feel meaningful. But when someone begins to see beyond those illusions, life does not necessarily become empty. Instead, it becomes quieter, more reflective, less controlled by external expectations. In the end, intelligence does not automatically make life unhappy. It simply reveals more of reality. And reality is complex, sometimes uncomfortable, sometimes beautiful, but always deeper than it first appears. When someone learns to live with that clarity, something interesting happens. The pressure to follow society's script becomes weaker. The need to chase every desire becomes lighter. And slowly, a different way of living becomes possible. Not a life without struggle, but a life lived with awareness. And perhaps that awareness is not a burden. Perhaps it is simply the price of seeing the world more clearly.